Others packed the pews, bundled up for outdoor church services, keeping the faith during this pandemic. And even those staying on their front lawns, but lifting up their neighborhoods. KHOU 11 News at 10 starts right now.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Rekha Muttaraj. The malls are finally closing after a busy last day of holiday shopping leading up to Christmas. Adam Bennett shows us why retail experts expect sales numbers to beat last year's totals, even during a pandemic, and why some shoppers say they wanted to make their purchases in person.
At rush hour this evening,
I just had to do last-minute Christmas shopping because I have a bad habit of shopping for myself instead of other people.
it was a last-minute rush to the Galleria before stores closed for the holiday.
It's chaos, dude. Always expected. It's kind of what I get. It's kind of my punishment, you know?
Those shoppers had plenty of company at malls across the area late this afternoon. Over at Memorial City, there was plenty of foot traffic too. Stores there are limiting capacity, and the mall urged social distancing and mask wearing for everyone. Still, COVID-19 restrictions aren't limiting what shoppers spend. The National Retail Federation expects this year's holiday sales to climb 3 to 5% higher than last year's. The group's CEO credits an improving economy and families wanting to lift spirits during a tough year.
I hope they'll like it. You know, something simple, but something sentimental.
You still want the cheer. We've had so much taken away from us this year.
Numbers also show most people's holiday shopping started well before Thanksgiving. Store managers told us last month their customers did that to avoid crowds.
Our business has really been on fire since the beginning of October.
For the same reason, more people are shopping online this year too. But even in a pandemic, the same in-person tradition sticks for different reasons.
This is something that I can get on hand now.
Because I live across the street.
An 11th hour rush to rush that perfect gift home for the holidays. Adam Bennett, KHOU 11 News.
Well, if you were out shopping, you know it was chilly, and you better have the hot cocoa ready when you open presents tomorrow morning. Addison Green tracking some cold temps for Christmas Day.
Oh, Rekha, yeah, you're going to have that cocoa on nice and toasty. Maybe even have the fireplace lit up as well, because look at these morning temperatures. Santa's going to leave in his wake once he leaves all those Christmas gifts behind. We have temperatures starting off Christmas Day in the mid to upper 30s, from Huntsville at 35 degrees to Livingston 39. We have 38 at Bush, and the mild spot on the map out there in Crystal Beach at 47 degrees. But you're still going to feel that cool chill in the air. And as we go through hour by hour forecast through the overnight hours in through Christmas Day, we see those temperatures rising in the morning hours into eventually the 50s, and then the low 60s coming through town as we have a fair amount of clear skies, which means lots of sun shining on down. So we'll talk about coming on up in your full forecast how tonight's going to be cold but less windy. We're going to have a chilly but pleasant day coming away for Christmas Day, and then the rain chances, how they're going to creep on up as we wrap up finally, Rekha, 2020 and get it out of here.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Addison. You know, despite the cold, families in Houston still headed outside tonight for a special kind of gathering. While local health leaders are urging people to stay home on Christmas Eve, some local churches gave people another way to celebrate the spirit of the season. David Gonzalez has more.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
It's an untraditional take on Christmas Eve at St. Luke's Methodist Church.
This does not look quite the same as the sanctuary or the fellowship hall, but I think it actually looks better because it means that we get to be together.
The church altered its popular Christmas Eve service that normally welcomes 1,100 people into its sanctuary.
It's just under the heavenly skies. It's just God's way of blessing us, really. I look at it as a blessing. We never get to have church outside on Christmas Eve.
Capacity was limited to 600 people at both outdoor services. Families were spaced out and worshipers wore masks.
So many of our folks have not been able to worship together in person since March. We've been doing virtual worship, and we have people coming to in-person worship. But for so many of the folks that were here this evening, this was their first time to get to be with the congregation and worship together.
Folks bundled up to try to escape the cold weather, but the chilly temps weren't going to be enough to keep people away.
We had hand warmers and blankets out here, and we have warm hearts because we were all able to be together.
Merry Christmas!
And while some families are able to come together, they can't forget about those who will be missing a loved one this Christmas.
For those that are battling illness, we pray that you will give them healing and comfort.
David Gonzalez, KHOU 11 News.
Today, Memorial Hermann began giving out shots of its Moderna vaccine. They received a shipment of more than 13,000 doses yesterday. The first shots going to healthcare workers, but they plan to open up vaccinations to more people next week. It's part of the state's 1B phase of vaccinations, helping those 65 and older or those with certain underlying medical conditions. And teachers are pushing to be a part of that 1B phase. Right now, educators are not specifically listed, but the Texas State Teachers Association, among others, believes anyone working at schools who want the vaccine should be able to roll up their sleeves in the next round.
And not only teachers, but other school employees like bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodians, they all come in contact with the students.
Now, the CDC recommended teachers be considered essential frontline workers, but individual states have the power to prioritize vaccination recipients. If you have any questions you want answered about the COVID vaccine, send us a text to 713-526-1111. You can also just text the word vaccine to that same number. Across the U.S., holiday celebrations are hampered by the coronavirus pandemic. Nationwide, more than 119,000 COVID-19 patients are in the hospital, a new record. Elise Preston reports from New York.
On Christmas Eve, California reported its 2 millionth COVID-19 case. Around the state, overflowing hospitals are struggling to avoid rationing care. The director of LA County's Department of Health Services says it's on track for some 8,700 deaths over a 3-month span.
That is nearly 3 times the number of people that died in the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
In Indiana, an African-American doctor's death from the virus is raising difficult questions.
You're not even short of breath. I said, yes, I am.
Dr. Susan Moore posted this Facebook video complaining she was getting inadequate care at an Indiana hospital because she was Black. She was released and died this week.
This is how Black people get killed when you send them home.
Indiana University Health released this statement. We take accusations of discrimination very seriously and investigate every allegation. And for many Americans, getting vaccinated may be further off. The goal of 20 million doses won't be reached until early 2021, later than promised. Elise Preston, CBS News.
The man accused of assaulting a bar employee over wearing a mask was arrested today. This is Patrick Kelly, and he's facing charges of assault and possession of a controlled substance. His court appearance tonight tops your nightcap in 90 seconds.
This afternoon, Kelly appeared in court for his probable cause hearing. According to the DA's office, Kelly was wearing a Southwest Airlines uniform when he was arrested. It was a coverall, which didn't allow for officers to search him without undressing him. The DA's office said while he was being searched in the jail, officers found some drugs.
And in a plastic bag, they found 0.1 grams of powder cocaine that fell from his hands and onto the floor.
Prosecutors say Kelly has no criminal record and is a Navy veteran. Kelly is accused of hitting Josh Vaughn, a doorman here at the Grand Prize Bar in the Museum District. Vaughn says Kelly refused to put on a mask.
Outside the George R. Brown Convention Center, a line wrapped around the building, dozens standing in the cold, all for a warm meal this Christmas Eve. It's the 42nd annual Super Feast, but this year looks and feels a lot different. Instead of a sit-down dinner, the meals are all to go, and the number of people in need is much greater than years past, worsened by the financial hardships of the COVID-19 pandemic.
There are a lot of people in this line right now who last year were over on this side doing what I'm doing. But because of COVID, because of the other things that are going on, now they're over here.
The parade of pipes and drums play for an empty Manger Square. Any other year, this place would be packed with pilgrims.
It's a very sad Christmas because we cannot celebrate according to the tradition because of the pandemic.
But despite 2020 being challenging, this Grinch of a year can't steal the Christmas spirit. Families reunited in France after being stuck in the UK due to a COVID lockdown. Celebrating Christmas without my mom, says this woman, is just not Christmas.
And as people travel this holiday season, safety is top of mind for many people going on a plane. And you asked, will the TSA take your hand sanitizer and wipes if you're headed through the airport? Tonight, we verify. Ringing in Christmas, literally, a local neighborhood finding a way to lift each other's spirits with a carol of bells. And a new Houston tradition goes online as young black children in Houston meet a St. Nick that looks more like them.
A candle stood in the window. The little candle was timid, but the wise old candle whispered, "Your purpose is small but mighty, for together we illuminate the world."
This portion of the news is sponsored by your Houston area Cadillac dealers.
I'm Tiffany Craig. SalvationArmyHouston.org/veterans is the site to visit and apply for the Veterans Rental Assistance. To be eligible for this program, you must live in one of the following counties: Harris, Galveston, Montgomery, or Brazoria.
One worker for the Salvation Army's famous Red Kettle campaign is drawing attention, but not by ringing his bell.
Come and behold him.
That is Sammy Wade, who sets up shop outside a Walmart near Fort Worth. He doesn't use a bell. Instead, he uses his beautiful voice. Wade spent several years homeless, and during this pandemic, a church helped him get back on his feet. One congregation member stepped in when Sammy's car broke down, and he needed a ride to the kettle.
I knew that if that job came through, I mean, he had a ride. That was just never a question.
That's 40 miles from here.
It's okay.
There are people that are hurting and that are suffering, and the only thing that I can say is that there is hope.
Salvation Army gave Wade a temporary job for the holidays. He's working to get a new car and start a voice coaching business, and we wish him the very best. Speaking of bell ringers, there's a neighborhood in Houston full of them tonight. Westgate families decided to go all out on their front lawns this evening and ring bells to celebrate the season together while staying socially distant.
If we came out on Christmas Eve around 6 o'clock and rang some bells, we could spread some Christmas cheer. Given, 2020 has been hard on families, it's been hard on kids. We don't get to see kids at our playground. We don't get to go places and hang out with all our family like we used to. So just making sure that they still believe in the spirit of Christmas and know that no matter what's going on, our friends, our family, our community is here for us. And just to bring some Christmas spirit alive right before Christmas. People have been separated and just been by themselves, and having your neighbor come out next door at the same time as you and just hearing the bells, knowing that everybody is trying to celebrate the season and looking forward to what 2021 brings. I think it can just bring the community together.
Looks like it was a lot of fun. Well, despite the pandemic, it's still a busy travel season. If you have travel plans, you're probably packing hand sanitizer and wipes. But if you're flying, can you actually pack those in your carry-on bags? Lorenzo Hall from our Verify team has the answer.
Now, the CDC recommends postponing holiday travel and staying home, but frankly, not everybody is taking that advice. TSA screened more than 1.1 million people yesterday, which is the largest group they've screened at airports nationwide since March 16th, according to an agency spokesperson. Now, the agency is used to getting all sorts of strange questions about what can and can't be packed, but the pandemic has thrown some new curveballs. So let's verify. Can you pack hand sanitizer and wipes in your carry-on bags? We turn to TSA as our source for this one, and yes, this one's true. Here's what you need to know, though. Right now, you can bring 1 container of hand sanitizer, up to 12 ounces in carry-on bags. You may be asked to screen it separately, which could add some time moving through security. As for wipes, you can pack those too, and they don't have to be any particular size or packed with other liquids. While we're talking about safety, TSA says you can ask their officers to change gloves, and you can wear your mask through screenings, but you'll have to reposition it or take it off for an officer to check your ID or if it contains metal.
Verify exists to clear up misinformation and bring you the facts so that you can keep yourself and your family safe, and we need your help to do that. If you have something for our Verify team to look into, send an email to verify@khou.com. You can also reach us on Facebook or Twitter. Okay, check this out. Kids in Houston and across the country meeting with Black Santa today. Normally, he appears in person in our city to let our kids sit on his lap, and it's a Santa that looks like them, but this time the event had to be online. Still good to see him. Santa is making his trip around the world right now. Here is a live look. This is NORAD's Santa Tracker. We look at this every year, and it says he's headed to deliver toys to kids in Ontario, Canada. Okay, that's good. He's almost here. And don't forget, the nation's top doctor, Anthony Fauci, said he personally made a trip to visit Santa and vaccinate him, so he's good to go. Don't worry. We're checking in with Addison Green now to see if the skies will be clear for Santa over Houston tonight.
Rick, I think we're going to find ourselves a clear sky, so Santa's flight is all good to go out there across Houston. As we can see, the cloudcast right there rolling and rolling hour by hour, but there are no clouds out there to be found throughout the overnight hours. So don't worry, kids, there's going to be no issue whatsoever for Santa to come by and deliver those gifts. So get ready to wake up Christmas morning to hopefully a huge display underneath the tree. Temperatures out there, though, will be on the frosty side. So as you step out of bed in the morning hours, make sure you do have maybe an extra layer. Perhaps grab the comforter off the bed as you go out down there towards the living room. We have temperatures in the morning hours. Huntsville, 35 degrees. Out there towards Sugar Land, 36. Galveston, you'll be one of the mild spots going down around 44 degrees. But you can see temperatures across the country come tomorrow morning will be quite chilly in many spots. And then as we go through time, of course, those temperatures will get a little bit better as we make our way in through the weekend ahead. But Christmas Day itself, right here are the afternoon highs and sky conditions. We do find ourselves across the nation's heartland with very good weather, although very chilly up to the north. Our friends in Minneapolis going to go only get to the teens for highs. That's it. So quite cold over there. But our friends over there in western Pennsylvania, in towards the Ohio River Valley, they're going to wake up to a white Christmas with snow on the ground. So I'm a little jealous of those guys up that way. But our Christmas Day right here is going to start off like this. 7 a.m., sunshine but cold, 34 degrees. By lunchtime, cool, crisp, 58 degrees comes your way. And then for the afternoon hours, pleasant, with many locations finding those temperatures rising into the low to mid 60s even in a few isolated areas. The view outside right now up by Herman Park, it is crystal clear. We have a crisp feeling in the air. Temperatures are sitting around 42 degrees. We'll have a little bit of a breeze coming on in. Despite out of a southwesterly direction, it's making it feel like we're in the upper 30s. So walking the dog one last time before you call it a night. Don't forget that thicker jacket. Temperatures out there in College Station, 42. Cleveland, one of the cool spots at 36. Sugar Land, you're sitting pretty at 40 degrees. All the while, we have a light breeze coming on in from time to time with very much fair skies. Bigger picture does show we have a good chunk of the country enjoying fair weather. In fact, 2/3 of the nation, from the Mississippi River Valley, I should say, all the way out there towards the West Coast is enjoying nice weather. It's the East Coast that's not so much getting a good time to enjoy Christmas evening. They have showers and thunderstorms from Florida through the Carolinas up into New England with snow coming on down the back end of that system. That's the same system that brought that cold front through late last night that eventually ushered in those crisp winds overnight. But as we make our way past Christmas Day into the weekend, because all eyes are on the weekend, of course, no matter what holiday is coming on up, we have fair skies still around for Saturday with a mix of sun and clouds by the afternoon hours. Sunday, we'll start to notice a little more cloud cover creeping on in. Then the rain potential starts to go up. Right now, about 10 to 20% chance for Monday afternoon. Tuesday, it's going to be about 30 to 40%. And then by Wednesday, we see that chance rise even higher with that cold front starting to push our way bring us a chance for potentially some scattered thunderstorms. But notice Wednesday, we have temperatures in the morning hours in the 60s and then in the afternoon hours in the 50s. So we're going to have that cold front pass through early. Temperatures will be in a decline after that all throughout Wednesday afternoon, all the way into New Year's Eve. We're going to start off the morning hours, 42 degrees, and then the last daytime high of 2020, going to get up into the mid-50s. But at least Reka will wrap up 2020 on a pleasant note. So at least we have that going for us this year.
At least. Thank you, Addison. The Houston Cougars appeared in a postseason bowl game today. That's the good news. But the bad news is it appeared that they missed their wake-up call. Matt has that story. And high school playoffs and more coming up in sports.
KHOU 11 Sports, sponsored by Xfinity.
Typically, Christmas Eve is one of the slowest days on the Houston sports calendar. But today we had all kinds of football action going on, so let's check it out, beginning with the Houston Cougars as they played the New Mexico Bowl up in Frisco. Dana Holgerson's Cougars took on former Rice coach Todd Graham and his Hawaii Warriors. And whether it was because a number of key players were missing due to opting out, or if the Cougs just once again came out flat, they trailed at halftime 21-0. In the third quarter, they fought back to score 2 touchdowns, but then on the ensuing kickoff, disaster strikes again as Hawaii's Calvin Turner scores on a 92-yard kickoff return, and Hawaii goes on to win 28-14.
That's the way 2020's been. The ball never bounced our way. We can sit here and cry about it if we want to, or we can work hard and look towards 2021, which is what we're going to do.
During a typical Texas high school football season, the playoffs are finished up before Christmas. But of course, everything has been skewed here in 2020. So we are now in the third round of the UIL playoffs. And two-time defending state champion North Shore took on Tompkins, and future Auburn quarterback Demetrius Davis put on a show, accounting for 386 yards of total offense and 7 touchdowns for the Mustangs. His teammate Shadrack Banks, an A&M commit, had over 200 yards of offense and 2 scores, and North Shore wins big, 47-22. Down at Freedom Field, Manville took on Hightower, and the Mavericks' running game was tough to stop in this one. In the second quarter, Jordan Vaughn gets tripped up, but still scores from the 1. Then just before halftime, the Mavericks score again on the ground. This time, DeMonte Seymour does the honors, and Manville rolls to a 31-7 victory. Clear Falls took on Taylor today, and Knights running back Davis Smith gets the handoff and goes 24 yards right up the middle to put Clear Falls up early. Down 7-3 in the second, Taylor running back Michael Whitaker goes 11 yards for the score and the lead, but they miss the extra point, and a second-half field goal wins it for Clear Falls, 10-9. That's it for Christmas Eve sports. I'm Matt Musil reporting. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and yours.
Merry Christmas, Fatty. All right, we'll be right back to celebrate you next. Bomb Treat helped save a family-owned chocolate shop in Brenham from going out of business. For more on Jet Set Chocolates, head to our KHOU 11 Facebook page. Okay, we know the pandemic is putting a damper on your birthdays and your anniversaries, so every night we take time to celebrate you. We want to share this shout out for Aliyah Colbert. She is 12 years old. Happy birthday to you, Aliyah. Happy birthday to Giselle Wheaton. She's officially a teenager. This birthday wish comes with a lot of love from Nana, Tangela, Uncle Del, and Aunt Sandra. They all love you so much. Happy birthday to Jerry Wells. He is 76 years young today. This shout out coming from Jacob. And a happy birthday to Zeta, who turned 6 years old today. We hope you all have a great birthday and a very Merry Christmas. We'll be right back. Merry Christmas. And for our moment of Zen, a look at the lights from City Hall. Good night.